You were never small. You only learned to believe in smallness. Like a wave that forgot it is the ocean, you have been tossed and turned by circumstances, forgetting the infinite calm beneath your surface. But now is the time to remember. Not to become, not to strive, not to improve, but to remember, because the ocean has never left you. It lives in you. It is you. You are not a fragile droplet cast away from something greater. You are the ocean in a drop, a microcosm of the infinite, a divine echo of the all, not an orphan of spirit, but its embodiment. You were not created to be separate. You were created to be whole, to be the song of the universe sung through a single breath. The illusion of separation, this is the root of all suffering. You were never truly alone, but your mind, conditioned by fear, conditioned by judgment, by years of story after story, convinced you otherwise. And when you believe you're alone, you search for belonging. When you forget your love, you chase approval. When you believe you're broken, you keep seeking healing. But healing begins not in fixing what you think is wrong. Healing begins in remembering what has always been right. You are not your pain. You are not your past. You are not the thoughts that whisper of inadequacy. You are not the labels, not the name, not the roles you've worn like costumes in the theater of time. You are the one who watches it all. You are the stillness behind the noise, the light that has never dimmed, even as you wandered through shadows. You are not lost. You are simply asleep to the truth of yourself. An awakening is not about adding more. It's about removing what is not you. The ego will try to convince you that you are just this drop, just this body, just this age, just this trauma. It thrives on identity, on being right, on being wounded, on being separate. But the soul knows no such limitation. The soul is spacious. It holds everything and clings to nothing. When you realize you are the ocean in a drop, you stop trying to prove your worth. You stop fighting to be seen. You stop clinging to stories of victimhood. Because the ocean does not resent the shore for its boundaries. It simply moves. It simply flows. The drop that surrenders to the ocean does not disappear. It expands. It becomes the storm, the tide, the still water reflecting the moon. All this time you've been trying to find peace by rearranging the waves. But true peace is found in diving deep below the noise into the silence of your own being. There. You don't have to try. You only have to listen. The ocean speaks in stillness. It doesn't shout. It waits. It waits for you to be still enough to feel it. You do not need to find the divine. You are the divine. You were never outside of God's embrace. How can the wave be outside the ocean that gives it form? You don't have to chase love. You are what love looks like in form. Every time you return to presence, every time you breathe consciously, every time you forgive yourself, you step deeper into your oceanic truth. Let go of the need to fix yourself. You are not a project. You are a presence. You are not a problem to be solved. You are a mystery to be lived. This is not philosophy. This is reality when seen through the lens of the soul. The mystics have known this. Rumi whispered, "You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop." And yet, how quickly we forget. We forget when we compare. We forget when we judge. We forget when we believe our worth must be earned. But worth cannot be earned. It can only be realized. Like sunlight breaking through the fog, your divinity is not created by effort. It is revealed by surrender. Surrender is not weakness. It is the courage to release what is false so the truth can rise without resistance. Surrender your story. Surrender your shame. Surrender the belief that you must suffer to be free. Surrender the idea that awakening is some future destination. It is here. Now, it is the breath you are taking. It is the silence beneath this voice. It is the awareness that is reading these words. You are the space, not the storm. You are the awareness, not the anxiety. You are the sky, not the clouds. Your true self cannot be threatened because it is not made of anything that can be destroyed. It is eternal, unchanging, and infinite, just like the ocean. And once you remember, even for a moment, your entire perception begins to shift. You stop living from fear. You start living from freedom. You stop reacting. You begin responding. You stop chasing what you already are. The ego will return like waves on the surface, but you'll no longer mistake the wave for the ocean. You'll witness your thoughts without becoming them. You'll feel your emotions without drowning in them. You'll face your past without being imprisoned by it. Because when you know you are the ocean in a drop, you no longer fight the waves. You ride them. You no longer fear the storm. You trust it. You no longer worship the shore. You become the horizon. And when others forget, when they flail and sink in their illusions of separateness, you will be the calm, not because you have all the answers, but because you remember who you are. This remembering, it's not just for you. It's for everyone you touch, every heart you meet, every room you enter, because your presence becomes a lighthouse, not by effort, but by essence. You become peace. You become permission for others to also stop pretending, to stop performing, to stop shrinking into roles they were never meant to carry. The wave is temporary. The ocean is eternal. The mind is changeable. The soul is unshakable. Everything the ego fears, losing the soul, already knows it cannot keep. Everything the soul embodies, the ego cannot understand. So stop trying to convince your ego to awaken. Instead, gently step beyond it. Like walking out of a dream, awaken into what you've always been. You are not the storm, you survived. You are not the pain that shaped you. You are not the identity they gave you. You are the vast, boundless, infinite presence that held it all. And if you sit still enough to feel beyond the surface, you will know this as your deepest truth. The ocean is not afraid of being misunderstood. It doesn't rush to explain itself. It doesn't fight the tide. It doesn't prove its worth. It simply is. And so are you. You are not here to fit in. You are here to remember, to reflect the entire cosmos through your being, to live as a reminder to the world that love does not have to be earned, that peace does not have to be found, that God is not elsewhere. The divine is the very breath that breathes you. It is the stillness behind your eyes. It is the awareness that listens when no one is speaking. It is the ocean in the drop, and the drop is you. When you stop chasing the wave, you begin to experience the ocean. And when you stop trying to be someone, you remember that you already are everything. Your soul is not waiting for improvement, it is waiting for your return. Not the return of your body, nor your thoughts, nor your achievements, but the return of your awareness to the eternal truth it has always carried. The truth that you were never disconnected, never lacking, never less than divine. You have not been abandoned by grace. You have only been distracted from it. Distracted by voices that told you you're not enough. Distracted by noise that claims success lives somewhere outside of you. Distracted by the wounds of yesterday, replayed over and over like a sad song on a loop. But you are not here to repeat your history. You are here to remember your eternity. The world told you to define yourself by what you've done, what you own, who you impress. But the soul does not care for these illusions. The soul does not speak in language. It speaks in stillness. It speaks in peace. It speaks when you no longer need to prove your value. It whispers, you are not here to become something. You are here to be what you already are. And what you are is light, not a flicker, but a fire that cannot be put out, not by rejection, not by failure, not by time. You are the light that shines through every mask you've worn. The light that never stopped glowing, even when you convinced yourself it had been extinguished. You are the light before your name, before your childhood, before your stories, and you are the light that will remain when all those things pass away. There is a beauty that arises when you no longer need the world to reflect your worth. You no longer ask others to validate what your soul has already declared. You no longer beg for love because you are the source of it. You no longer compete for visibility because you are no longer hiding. You no longer fear being alone because you have made peace with the eternal companion that has lived within you all along. Do not believe the voice that says you are too broken, too late, too flawed. Those are only echoes from minds that forgot their own wholeness. You do not need to be perfect to be pure. You do not need to be flawless to be divine. The ocean does not need to be calm to be sacred. It is sacred in the storm, just as you are. Sacred in your grief, sacred in your chaos, sacred in your uncertainty. There is no requirement to awaken. There is only a remembering. Remember that before the guilt, before the fear, before the labels, you were already enough. And in this very moment, with all your imperfections, all your questions, all your scars, you still are. Let go of the idea that spirituality is a destination. You are not climbing toward divinity. You are softening into it. You are not building a bridge to heaven. You are realizing that heaven was always within you, waiting for your attention. Not a place in the clouds, but a vibration in your chest, a knowing in your silence, a stillness in your presence. The ego asks, what's next? The soul asks, what is now? The ego demands results. The soul invites surrender. The ego fears death. The soul remembers eternity. And every moment you stop and breathe, every moment you pause long enough to feel beneath the story, you are tasting the ocean. You are touching your source. You are awakening, not through effort, but through release. Not through control, but through trust. Not through gaining, but through allowing. You are not here to carry the weight of the world. You are here to dissolve into the lightness of being. You are not here to make the world love you. You are here to embody the love that you are. You are not here to force your way forward. You are here to flow, to respond, to dance with the divine rhythm that has always been guiding you. Let go. Let go of the tight grip on your identity. Let go of the story that binds you to your past. Let go of the fear that you are somehow behind. Let go of the belief that your value is up for negotiation. You are the ocean in a drop, a holy spark of infinite intelligence, the living presence of God, wrapped in human experience. The great I am in motion, the formless essence dancing through form. And the more you allow this truth to take root, the less you resist what arises. You will stop fighting the moment and begin flowing with it. You will stop resenting the path and begin honoring it. You will stop asking life to be different and begin trusting that life is always offering you exactly what your awakening requires. The pain is not punishment. The delay is not denial. The loss is not abandonment. Everything is here to lead you home. And home is not a place. It is a state of remembering, a frequency where the ego dissolves and the soul expands, where you no longer need the applause because you have heard the inner voice that says you are already whole, where you no longer fear change because you know that nothing real can ever be lost, where you no longer strive to become spiritual because you realize you are spirit itself. This is not about adding more to your life. It is about returning to the essence of life within you. Stripping away everything that is not love, not peace, not presence, until what remains is the stillness that has never left, the presence that needs no permission, the awareness that knows itself as whole. You are not here to control life. You are here to commune with it, to bow to its wisdom, to lean into its grace, to trust that every step, even the ones you didn't plan, are bringing you closer to yourself. Nothing is wasted. No tear is meaningless. No detour is a mistake. Everything has been the unfolding of your return. Return to the breath, return to the silence, return to the truth that was never gone, only obscured by the noise of forgetting. Even now, as you sit here, something within you remembers. A flicker, a softness, a knowing. You remember that you are not separate from life. You are what life is doing. You are the wave and the ocean, the moment and the timeless, the form and the formless. You are the mystery you've been trying to solve. You are the love you've been trying to find. You are the God you've been taught lives elsewhere. And once you remember this, even just for a moment, the entire world begins to reflect it back to you. The trees no longer just sway, they speak. The wind no longer just moves, it blesses. The faces of strangers no longer feel foreign, they are you in different costumes. There is nothing left to fear. Not because nothing will ever go wrong, but because you now know you are more than what happens. You are the space it happens within. You are the ocean that holds the wave. You are the peace that contains the storm. And when you begin to live from this place, not as a theory, not as a concept, but as your lived reality, everything changes, though nothing needs to. You walk through life with open palms instead of clenched fists. You no longer demand certainty, for you have discovered the sanctuary of surrender. You are no longer addicted to outcomes because you have fallen in love with presence. You are no longer chasing completion because you've tasted the completeness within you. The ocean is not concerned with where it begins or ends. It simply exists beyond measure, beyond mind, beyond form. And so too does your essence, your being, your true self, vast, borderless, unconcerned with comparison, untouched by judgment, undefeated by time. What you are cannot be improved. It can only be realized. And that realization does not arrive with noise and effort, it arrives in stillness. The paradox is this: the more you try to find yourself, the more you forget what you are. And the moment you stop trying, stop striving, stop reaching, and simply allow what is to be, there it is. There you are. In the silence, in the breath, in the gentle awareness that has been watching all along. It is not something you achieve. It is what remains when all achievement falls away. You do not need to become holy. You already are. You do not need to earn peace. You already hold it. You do not need to seek God. You are made of God. Even the idea of finding your purpose is only relevant when you believe you are apart from your essence. When you remember your true nature, you realize that your being is the purpose. Your presence is the gift. Not what you do, not what you produce, not what you prove, but the radiance that flows from simply being aligned with who and what you truly are. And who are you? You are the echo of eternity. You are the song the universe has never stopped singing. You are the divine expressing itself through a body, through a life, through a set of ever-changing roles that could never contain the vastness of your spirit. You are not here to perform. You are here to remember. You are not here to fix yourself. You are here to awaken from the illusion that you are broken. You are not here to win the game of life. You are here to transcend the game entirely. The soul doesn't keep score. It doesn't count mistakes. It only invites you again and again back into presence, into peace, into the sacred now, where the past is no longer your prison and the future is no longer your idol, where there is nothing missing and nothing to fear, where the drop remembers it has never been anything but ocean. And from that space, life begins to bloom again. You smile for no reason. You cry without shame. You speak with less urgency and more depth. You forgive without needing to justify. You listen without needing to respond. You rest without guilt. You walk without rushing. You breathe like every inhale is a prayer and every exhale is a letting go. This is not weakness. This is power. The power of alignment, the power of presence, The power of knowing what you are so deeply that the world can no longer convince you otherwise. Others may not understand. They may try to pull you back into the storm. They may say, you've changed, and they'd be right. You've remembered. And in remembering, you've released the need to explain your peace to those still addicted to their struggle. You no longer need permission to be free. You simply are. Freedom is not the absence of difficulty. It is the absence of inner resistance. Peace is not the absence of noise. It is the presence of unwavering stillness beneath it. Love is not something you give or receive. It is what remains when all fear dissolves. You are not your circumstances. You are not your failures. You are not your age, your status, your body, your past. You are what notices all of those things, what holds them gently and releases them without attachment. The more you let go, the more you realize there is nothing to lose. The more you stop chasing, the more you feel yourself arriving. And you arrive not at some external destination, but in the sanctuary of your own soul, a soul that has always known, always waited, always loved. You are the ocean in a drop, a sacred convergence of all that ever was, all that is, and all that will be. You do not belong to the world. You belong to the infinite. And you are here now, not to become something, but to remember everything. And when you live from that remembrance, you no longer need to carry the past on your back like a burden that defines your worth. You begin to walk differently, lighter, freer, not because the world has changed, but because your awareness has. You see through new eyes. You listen through a new heart. And life, once filled with obstacles and adversaries, begins to feel like a sacred teacher unfolding before you with grace. You no longer judge what arises because you know it is passing. You no longer cling to what leaves because you trust in what remains. And what remains is not the job, not the relationship, not the title, not the opinion. What remains is the ocean, the deep, endless, loving intelligence of your own being, untouched by circumstance, untouched by comparison, untouched by time. You are no longer the one who reacts to the world. You become the one who reflects its truth. You are no longer the one who grasps for safety. You are the one who remembers that true safety lies in your willingness to let go. You are no longer the one who fights for love. You are the one who realizes that love is the foundation of your existence. There is no race. There is no delay. There is no finish line. There is only the eternal invitation to come home to the place within you that has never been wounded, to the presence that holds all your tears and transforms them into wisdom, to the stillness that doesn't just silence the noise but renders it irrelevant. You stop trying to find your identity in things that can be taken. You stop anchoring your joy to things that are temporary. You stop measuring your value with a ruler made by the world. Instead, you rest in what is eternal. You lean back into what cannot be measured. The ocean in you does not rush. It does not panic. It knows its tide will return. Even in your darkest night, that ocean was there, silent, patient, unmoving, waiting for you to remember. Even in your deepest grief, it held you whispering through the silence. This, too, shall pass. Even in your loneliest hour, it never left. Because you are not the one who was forgotten. You are the one who forgot. And to remember is not to punish yourself for forgetting. It is to celebrate the return. It is to bow to the journey. It is to meet yourself again with new eyes and say, ah, there you are. I see you now. This is not spiritual poetry. This is the deepest reality there is. Deeper than name, deeper than role, deeper than belief. Beneath all the layers, beyond all the striving, there is only presence. And in that presence, there is nothing to fix, nothing to fear, nothing to earn. You have already arrived. You arrived the moment you stopped trying to arrive. You awakened the moment you stopped trying to be spiritual. You became whole the moment you stopped pretending to be broken. You remembered the moment you gave yourself permission to forget. Everything is grace. Even the forgetting, even the struggle, even the pain that made you kneel. For it brought you here to the moment you finally stopped running. To the moment you laid down your armor and said, I don't need to be more. I only need to be. And being is enough. Being is the sacred miracle. Being is the original blessing. Being is the space through which all truth flows. You don't need to fill it. You only need to feel it. There is no greater power than one who knows who they are. Not as a concept, not as an affirmation, but as an unshakable knowing rooted deep in the soul. And who you are is not a separate self struggling for peace. You are peace remembering itself through a temporary self. The mind may scream in confusion. Let it. The body may ache with memory. Love it. The world may demand answers. Smile. You don't need to know how. You don't need to explain why. You only need to keep coming back to what has never left. The stillness beneath the noise. The watcher behind the thought. The vastness behind the name. The ocean behind the wave. You are the ocean in a drop. And that drop, once surrendered, becomes all that ever was and ever will be. And when it all falls away, when the striving exhausts itself, when the stories unravel, when even the idea of awakening dissolves into the simple miracle of breath, you will find yourself where you have always been. Not at the end of a long journey, but at the beginning of reality. And reality is not found in the noise of the world, but in the stillness of your soul. It has been here all along, like a silent mountain beneath the passing clouds, unmoved, unbroken, waiting only for your eyes to see it again. This is the sacred return. Not the return to who the world told you to be, but to the formless, radiant, unshakable awareness that has always been the core of your being. And you don't have to try to get there. You only need to stop pretending you're somewhere else. The light you seek is not in the distance. It is in your breath. It is in the silence between your thoughts. It is in the space behind your eyes. It is the essence of your I am. There is nothing more liberating than this. To be what you already are. Not more, not different. Just fully, fearlessly, beautifully, divinely you. Not the you created by the world, but the you breathed into existence by eternity. The you that doesn't need a reason to exist. The you that doesn't need validation to be real. The you that is not afraid to let go because it knows nothing true can ever be lost. You are not your roles. You are not your past. You are not your wounds. You are not your trauma. Not your achievements, not even your name. You are what remains when all of it is gone. You are the space in which all things arise and pass. You are the ocean in a drop. And when you remember this, you no longer fear death. Because death can only touch the wave, it cannot touch the ocean. You no longer fear judgment. Because judgment cannot reach the infinite. You no longer fear failure, because failure cannot touch the truth of what you are. You no longer fear being alone, because you are never apart from Source. Even in your solitude, you are held. Even in your silence, you are seen. Even in your sorrow, you are safe. Because what you are cannot be harmed. What you are is beyond harm. Beyond lack, beyond limitation. So now, breathe. Breathe not to survive, but to remember. Breathe not to escape, but to arrive. Breathe not to chase the next moment, but to fall into this one completely. This moment, unadorned, untouched, whole in itself, is where your freedom lives. And as you inhale, feel the ocean swelling inside you, not rising in panic, but rising in peace. Feel the divine expanding, beyond your skin, beyond your stories, beyond your self-image. There is nothing separating you from infinity now. This is not imagination. This is not illusion. This is the original truth, before the shame, before the confusion, before the ego, This is the birthplace of your being. This is home, and you have never left. You simply wandered into a dream of separation, and now with soft awareness and open hands, you wake up. You wake up to your light. You wake up to your power. You wake up to the vast, silent love that has always called you by your real name. You are not here to accumulate, you are here to emanate, to radiate what cannot be contained in words, only felt in presence. You are the embodiment of the eternal formless spirit moving through form, God remembering itself through you. The old stories can fall away now. The old fears can dissolve. You don't need to rehearse the pain. You don't need to carry the weight. The wave no longer resists the shore. The drop no longer fears the merging. The self no longer hides from the self. You are what the mystics tried to name, what the poets tried to sing, what the saints tried to live. You are the one the ocean has always whispered about in its tides. You are the one the stars have always gazed upon with silent recognition. You are here. Now, awake, free, whole. You are the ocean in a drop, and the drop is returning. Not returning to a place, but returning to awareness, returning to love, returning to the infinite vastness you have always been. And in this return, nothing needs to be said. There is only breath. There is only stillness. There is only a peace so deep, it silences every storm. Let the final thought dissolve. Let the final image fade. Let the self fall into the self and feel what has no beginning and no end. You are home. You are light. You are the wave. You are the deep. You are the ocean in a drop. And you always were.
Consider for a moment the very act of seeing these words, of being present in this moment. You may think it a mere coincidence, a random occurrence, but I say unto you, your presence here, your awareness of this message, is a testament to the wealth that is already yours in consciousness. Put in the realm of infinite possibility, where all realities exist simultaneously, you have chosen to align yourself with this particular moment, this specific message of imminent wealth. But what does it truly mean to say that you are going to be rich simply because you are seeing this? It is not a matter of external circumstances or future events aligning in your favor. It is a state of consciousness, a shift in your very being that aligns you with the creative power of the universe. It is about recognizing that wealth, in its truest essence, is not something to be acquired but a stake to be assumed. Let us delve deeper into this profound truth. Your outer world, every experience you have, every circumstance you encounter, is nothing more than a reflection of your inner world, your consciousness. It is a mirror faithfully reflecting back to you the sum total of your beliefs, assumptions, and most importantly, your concept of self. When you understand this, truly understand it, you realize that by carefully choosing and vividly imagining yourself as already rich, you are actively creating a new reality that will unfold in your experience. This understanding is crucial, for it shifts the entire paradigm of how you approach wealth. No longer are you a helpless being at the mercy of external circumstances, hoping for favorable conditions to bring you riches. You become the active creator of your reality, knowing that as you assume the state of being rich, the universe must rearrange itself to match this new inner assumption. But how, you may ask, can one truly assume the state of being rich when their current circumstances may suggest otherwise? The answer lies in the creative power of your wonderful human imagination combined with the intensity of your feeling and belief. For your imagination is not a mere fantasy maker, and your feelings are not mere reactions to external stimuli. Together, they form the very workshop in which reality is forged. Let us take a moment to truly understand this. Your subconscious mind, which is one with the universal creative force, does not distinguish between what you vividly imagine and feel as true and what you actually experience in the outer world. It accepts as true whatever you feel to be true in your imaginal acts. And once it accepts an idea as true, it proceeds to bring it into manifestation in your physical reality, regardless of how long it takes in clock time. So, when you see this message and accept it as true, when you fall asleep in the absolute conviction that you are already rich, you are not engaging in wishful thinking or self-deception. You are actively creating your new reality from within. You are aligning yourself with the creative power of the universe, allowing it to work through you and for you. This, my dear listeners, is the essence of why seeing this message means you are going to be rich. It is about recognizing that the power to shape your reality lies within you, waiting to be expressed through your conscious imaginal acts. It is about understanding that your outer world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner conversations and assumptions, which can be radically altered by assuming the state of wealth. Consider the biblical phrase, "To him that hath, more shall be given." This is not a mere statement about material possessions. It is a profound truth about the nature of consciousness. When you assume the state of wealth, when you feel its reality with every fiber of your being, you are him that hath in consciousness. And to this state, more must be given, for it is the law of your own being. But let me be clear, assuming the state of wealth is not about false visualizations or strained affirmations. It is about a total immersion in the feeling of being rich. When you truly embody this practice, you naturally assume the thoughts, feelings, and inner conversations of a wealthy person. You go to sleep not as the person bound by financial limitations, but as the person who lives in a state of infinite abundance. Let us explore this further with an example. Imagine a person who sees this message and decides to take it to heart. Their outer reality may show limited funds and mounting bills, but instead of focusing on these appearances, they choose to act from the assumption that they are already rich. As they lie in bed, they immerse themselves in the feeling of financial freedom. They feel the security, the ease, the joy of having more than enough. They allow this feeling to permeate every cell of their being. They fall asleep in this state, carrying it into their dreams. When they awaken, something has shifted. They may not see immediate external changes in their financial situation, but internally they are no longer the same person. They have experienced the reality of wealth, and this new self-concept begins to reshape their outer world. In the days and weeks that follow, they find themselves naturally acting with more confidence in financial matters. They approach money decisions from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. They notice opportunities they would have previously overlooked. And as they continue to live from this state of wealth, their outer world begins to reflect this new inner reality. New financial opportunities arise. Unexpected sources of income appear. Their entire financial situation begins to transform, all stemming from the simple act of seeing this message and assuming the state of wealth. This principle applies to every aspect of your life. Whether you desire wealth in terms of money, relationships, health, or any other area, the key is to first assume the state of wealth in your imagination. Feel the reality of being rich in all areas of your life. Fall asleep in that state, knowing that as you do so, you are planting a seed in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind that must grow into your outer reality. Now I can hear some of you thinking, but Nabel, can simply seeing this message and assuming I'm rich really make such a difference? Surely we must take action in the physical world to create wealth. And to this I say, action is indeed part of the process, but it is secondary to the state of consciousness you assume. When you live from the state of being rich, you align yourself with the frequency of wealth. From this aligned state, you will be naturally inspired to take the right actions that support your new reality of abundance. Remember, the outer world is dead. It has no life of its own. It is your consciousness that gives life to your experiences. When you focus on your current financial limitations, constantly reacting to circumstances of lack, you are breathing life into a reality of scarcity. But when you see this message and assume the state of wealth, when you live from this state in your imagination, you set in motion a series of events that must culminate in the outer expression of this new inner reality. This, my dear friends, is the true secret to creating lasting wealth in your life. It is about aligning your inner conversations and imaginal acts with the state of wealth, recognizing that this wealthy reality is seeking expression through you and allowing it to flow into your experience through the power of your imagination and unwavering belief. But let me warn you, this shift in consciousness, this practice of living from the state of wealth, is not always an easy task. The old habits of scarcity thinking, of focusing on lack and limitation, are deeply ingrained in our collective consciousness. As you embark on this new way of being, you may find resistance arising within you. Doubts may creep in. Old thought patterns may try to reassert themselves. When this happens, do not fight against these thoughts and feelings. Simply observe them, acknowledge them, and then gently return to your state of wealth. For the war is not won by battling against what you don't want, but by persistently embodying what you do want. This persistence, this unwavering commitment to maintaining the state of wealth in your imagination, even in the face of contrary evidence, is what allows you to truly transform your reality. Think of it like tuning a radio. When you're trying to listen to a particular station, you don't focus on eliminating all the other stations. You simply tune into the frequency you desire. In the same way, you don't need to fight against your current financial reality or forcefully push away thoughts of lack. You simply need to tune yourself to the frequency of wealth to align your entire consciousness with the reality where you are already rich. This tuning is done through your imagination and your ability to generate feeling states. Your imagination is the dial that allows you to tune into different frequencies of experience. As you use your imagination to fully embody the state of wealth, as you feel the reality of being rich, you are tuning yourself to that frequency, allowing the corresponding experiences to flow into your life. But remember, my friends, this is not a one-time event. Living from the state of wealth is a way of life. It's a constant choice to maintain this state of consciousness, regardless of appearances, just as you wouldn't expect to stay in shape by exercising once. You cannot expect to create lasting wealth by assuming the state once. This is about persistently assuming the state of wealth, about living from this consciousness day in and day out, until it becomes your new normal. As you do this, you will find that your perception of wealth begins to shift. What once seemed like financial obstacles now appear as opportunities. Challenges become stepping stones to greater prosperity. You begin to see yourself as the wealthy being you truly are, knowing that your consciousness is constantly shaping your reality. Now, some of you may be wondering, but Wayne, how can I maintain this state of wealth when my current financial reality seems to contradict it? How can I persist in feeling rich when circumstances seem to suggest otherwise? And to this I say, your imagination infused with feeling is more powerful than any circumstance. Consider for a moment, have you ever been deeply moved by a story of wealth and success, whether in a book or a movie? In those moments, were you not feeling real emotions based on imaginary events? Your feelings were real, even though the events were not happening in your physical reality. This is the power you must harness when you live from the state of wealth. You must use your imagination to create scenarios that evoke the feelings associated with wealth. Imagine how you would feel if you were truly rich in all areas of your life. Feel the joy, the gratitude, the sense of security and freedom that would come with this reality. Feel these states as vividly and as consistently as you can. The key is to make your imaginal acts as real to you as possible. Engage all your senses. Feel the textures associated with wealth. Hear the sounds of abundance surrounding you. See the world through the eyes of someone who lives in a state of infinite plenty. Make it so real that your rational mind cannot distinguish between this imaginal act and physical reality. But here's a crucial point, my friends. The goal is not to imagine specific amounts of money or material possessions. The goal is to capture the essence of the feeling state associated with wealth. For it is this feeling state that is the true attractor of your experiences. Let me illustrate this with an example. Instead of imagining a specific sum of money in your bank account, capture the feeling essence of financial abundance. Feel the security, the freedom, the joy that comes with this state. See yourself moving through life with the ease and confidence of someone who knows that their supply is infinite and eternal. By focusing on the feeling essence rather than specific outcomes, you allow the universe to bring wealth to you in ways that might far exceed your specific imaginings. You open yourself to possibilities beyond what your current mindset can conceive. This is the true art of living from the state of wealth. It's not about pretending to have material possessions you don't yet have. It's about aligning yourself with the truth of your divine nature, your oneness with the creative power of the universe. It's about living each day from the state of infinite abundance, regardless of outer appearances. As you practice this, you may find that your outer world begins to shift in subtle ways. Perhaps you start to notice more abundance in your life, or you find yourself naturally attracting generous people and favorable financial circumstances, or opportunities for increase seem to appear out of nowhere. These are all signs that your inner shift is creating ripples in your outer reality. Don't discount these small changes. Celebrate them. See them as confirmation that the law is working, that your assumed state of wealth is taking root. But don't become attached to them or anxiously look for them. Simply acknowledge them with gratitude and continue to live from your state of wealth. As you persist in this practice, larger changes will begin to manifest. You may find yourself attracting more financial opportunities. You may notice that your income begins to increase. You may experience unexpected windfalls or brilliant ideas for creating wealth. And as you continue to live from the state of wealth, you'll discover that life becomes an exciting adventure of ever-expanding prosperity. But remember, the outer manifestation is not the goal. The goal is the state of consciousness from which all desired experiences naturally flow. This is a crucial point, my friends. When you're truly living from the state of wealth, when you're fully embodying this consciousness, you no longer need circumstances to confirm your state. You're already whole, already complete in your knowing that wealth is your natural state. And paradoxically, it's in this state of inner fulfillment that you're most likely to experience a life of true abundance. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Wayne, what about action? Don't we need to do things in the physical world to create wealth? And to this I say, yes, action is part of the process. But it's inspired action, not anxious doing. When you're consistently living from the state of wealth, ideas and opportunities will naturally present themselves to you. You'll feel inspired to take certain actions, to move in certain directions. These actions won't feel like struggle or effort. They'll feel natural, joyful, almost effortless. This is the difference between trying to make wealth happen and allowing it to happen. When you're trying to force wealth, actions feel stressful, born out of fear and lack. When you're living from the consciousness of wealth, actions flow naturally from your aligned state, guided by an inner wisdom that knows exactly how to bring about the manifestation of your wealthy reality. Consider the example of a fruit tree. A fruit tree doesn't strain to produce fruit. It doesn't force itself to grow. It simply unfolds naturally, expressing its innate abundance. You, my dear listeners, are no different. When you align yourself with the consciousness of wealth, you allow your life to unfold naturally and beautifully, expressing the infinite plenty that is your birthright. But let me be clear, this state of allowing is not passive. It requires an active use of your imagination, a deliberate and focused embodiment of the state of wealth. It requires faith. Not blind faith in external circumstances, but faith in the creative power of your consciousness and your ability to create wealth through your assumed state. This faith is not about believing that wealth will come someday in the future. It's about knowing that you are wealthy now in this very moment, and that your outer world must inevitably conform to this new inner reality. As we cultivate this faith, as you persist in living from the state of wealth, you'll begin to see evidence of wealth manifesting in your outer world. These signs may start small: an unexpected financial gain, a fortunate business opportunity, a sudden idea for creating wealth. Do not discount these signs, no matter how small they may seem, for they are confirmation that your inner world, shaped by your assumed state of wealth, is indeed shaping your outer reality. They are breadcrumbs leading you to the full realization of the wealthy life you are creating. As we near the conclusion of our discussion, I want to address a common concern that arises when people first encounter this teaching. Many worry that living from the state of wealth might somehow make them selfish or disconnected from the needs of others. But I assure you, my friends, the opposite is true. When you truly understand the principle of wealth, you realize that you are not separate from others. As you elevate your own consciousness by assuming a state of wealth, you are elevating the consciousness of all. Your personal wealth, far from disconnecting you from others, actually expands the field of possibilities for all. Moreover, when you are coming from a place of true wealth, you naturally have more to give to others. You become a channel through which abundance flows, not just to you, but through you to the world. Your wealth creates a ripple effect, touching the lives of everyone you encounter with your newfound energy, generosity, and sense of infinite possibility. This is the true gift of living from the state of wealth. It's not just about improving your individual financial circumstances, although that will happen. It's about aligning yourself with the fundamental nature of the universe, which is boundless plenty. It's about recognizing your own divine nature and allowing it to express itself fully through you. In this state of alignment, of consistently living from the state of wealth, you become a channel for the most beautiful expressions of life. Ideas flow to you effortlessly. Opportunities present themselves naturally. The right people and circumstances appear in your life at the perfect time. This is the magic of living from the consciousness of wealth. But remember, this magic is not something external to you. It's not some cosmic force that you need to appease or manipulate. It is the natural expression of your own consciousness when it's aligned with the truth of your being. You are the wealth. You are the abundance. You are the one who makes the impossible possible through your assumed state of infinite plenty. As we draw our time together to a close, I want to leave you with a final thought. The principle we've explored tonight, if you are seeing this, you are going to be rich, is not just a technique for creating better financial circumstances. It's about recognizing your true nature as a divine creative being. It's about aligning your entire being with the fundamental truth of who you are and allowing your grandest expression to flow through you. When you live from this understanding, everything changes. The world becomes a friendly place filled with infinite possibilities for wealth and abundance. You no longer see yourself as a small, separate being struggling to acquire riches. Instead, you recognize yourself as the source of all wealth, the creator of your own abundant reality. In this state, there's no need to feel reality. In this state, there's no need to feel lack or scarcity, for you understand that you are the source of all creation in your experience. Your job is simply to maintain the consciousness of wealth, to live from this awareness, and to allow the universe to erase the details of its manifestation. So, my dear friends, as you leave here tonight, I urge you to embrace this principle with all your heart. Don't see it as a technique to be applied occasionally, but as a way of life to be lived continuously. Use your mighty imagination to assume the state of being rich. Feel the naturalness of being the wealthy, divine being you truly are. Live from this state, persist in this knowing, and watch as your world rearranges itself to match your inner vision of abundance. Remember, you are not a limited being struggling to acquire wealth. You are the infinite consciousness choosing to experience abundance from this particular vantage point. Your assumed state is the tool through which you shape your experience. Use it wisely with the awareness of your true nature and the responsibility that comes with it. Go forth and create the abundantly wealthy life that is your birthright, knowing that with each moment you live for the state of wealth, you are aligning more fully with the truth of your divine, limitless nature. Thank you, and may you live in the constant awareness of the infinite wealth that you are.